this sums it up. This right here sums it all up. This guy sums up the night that we've had. All right, enough of this. Let's get me on screen here. It's taking so damn long, I don't even remember how to run my own streams. There I am. Welcome, everybody. It is 10:20 Central Time, 11:20 on the East Coast. But you know what? You guys are out here in force. Well over 200 watching. Lick that like button. Thank you, Eric W., for the 5 memberships. And yes, Darren, you were right. I was waiting this entire damn night, waiting for, just waiting for this to be the inevitable outcome we all knew was coming. Now, I will say I don't want to harp on NASCAR too much for this, for not forcing them out there. We ripped on them last time we were in Daytona for something like that, but I'm not crazy about this race. It was a pretty off night, to say the least. Thank you for the super chat Dislocation. We just had a bruh moment for 5. Agreed. By the way, lick that like button. And well, I mean, I've had this thing ready for an hour now because we pretty much, I feel like a lot of us, like me, I felt like I knew where this was going all night. I felt like this was going to be canceled no matter what. So I just sat listening to the red flag coverage, playing Madden, putting in, the current rosters into the 07 game. Now I just realized a demo mode went on in the background with the Broncos and Bengals playing. So that's something. It's been that kind of night. But let's get this finishing order all read off for you guys, let you know who's here. Won't go too awful long tonight because I don't want everybody staying up all night more than they've already had to. Napa Race Fan 927 though says ready for the Malcolm in the Middle 200 tomorrow. Yeah, I'll probably have it on while I'm at the gym tomorrow, or doing my run. I'm gonna go to the gym and run after this too, so it's gonna be a late night no matter what for me. I was kind of hoping they would have canceled this thing an hour ago, so I could have come on here with you guys before, and I'd be at the gym at this point. But it is what it is. By the way, for anyone wondering on there, Bengals winning 7-0. And then B1624, thanks for the 5. NASCAR fans an hour ago, don't stop the race. NASCAR fans now, oh crap, you stopped the race. You can't please anyone. I mean, to be completely honest, I was saying stop the race the whole time. We kind of knew where this was going. But it is what it is. By the way, 300 of you guys in here this late after a truck race with only 69 likes. Let's up that like. Let's get over 100 likes while we're doing this. But I'm going to read off the finishing order for tonight. And in a moment, we'll have it up top as I look in the background. The Broncos just tied it up. Starting up, Zane Smith is your winner, which means that for you who watch NASCAR Weekly Podcast, the chat has the first strike of Speed Weeks. They get the dub. So there is that. After that, we have Tanner Gray in second. Christian Eckes in third. I love saying that name. Making sure. Hold on one second. I'm all good on your guys' end, right? Because it's looking good from OBS. Oh, wow. I will read those in one moment. Okay, it's good. It says it's good on this end. Okay. Well, speaking of reading them, Pat, thank you for the 20. Tonight sucked. Can you please give a shout out to the Jackpot Races group? I don't know who that is, but hi. And then Dislocation, Bengals winning it all next year. Book it for 2. But yeah, hi. Thanks for the support to the Jackpot Races group. Looking at some of these others in here, 4th place was Kobe Howard. 5th place was Grant Enfinger. Hey, Blue Jimmy, I saw you met Jimmy Johnson today. That's pretty cool. I saw it on Instagram. That was awesome. Ty Majeski in 6th, Ankrum 7th, Heim in 8th, Matt Kraft in 9th, and Chase Elliott finishing out in the top 10 in his first super speedway start, I believe, or at least Daytona start in the truck series. Then you got Ben Rhodes in 11th, 12th, Carson Hocevar, Travis Pastrana in 13th, then in 14th, Sammy Smith. Then you have the first of 2 Jason Whites in the field with a top 15. This one, the American. And then Timmy Hill in 16th, Purdy in 17th, Wood 18th, Nick Sanchez in 19th, 20th, Kraus. And I'll read that super chat real quick. Thank you, Nick, for the 5. I was really enjoying the racing product. It's a shame rain intervened. Seemed like those trucks were very unstable and loose. It very much seemed like an early 2000s truck race. But ultimately, we got to see more under yellow than we did actually under green. According to the stats I was looking at, it could be wrong, but this is what it had read off, is that 40 of the 79 completed laps were under yellow. 39 of them were under green. So, talking low. Oh, hold on. How about now? Better? Yeah, let me know if it's better. I don't know if something changed with the audio or not, but I'm like right on it. Okay, how about now? Yeah, I don't know what's up. That's weird. I had an update, so it might have changed a few things. But yeah, this is weird. Why is it so low? Sorry about that. I'll just stay right up to the mic. So yeah, I'll stay up at the mic. I don't know what's going on with that. I'll reset the settings for tomorrow. Late night, everything's gonna go wrong, right? But that is what it is. So, okay, you're saying it's looking good on your end, looking good on my end for the most part. So, I'm sorry. This better not continue the rest of the weekend. If you're talking about the racing, I don't think it will. If you're talking about my mic quality, apologize for it, and I'll try to make sure it's better. But I'll keep up right here, and we'll go from there. So 21st was Rayum. 22nd, Matt Benedetto. 23rd, Canada's Jason White. Corey LaJoy, 24th, had to pit because he missed earlier. Wait, what? Scorpio Gaming. If they went back racing, there's a good chunk who wouldn't have seen it. FS1 just died. Wait, what happened to FS1? Hold on a second. Make sure I'm muted. Thank you, Hunter Nixon Fishing, for the 5. You could argue the truck's been on the best show of Speed Week. When they're under green, yeah. I'm going to pop FS1 back on and see what's up. I'll turn the volume off. I don't want to get copyrighted. Yeah, wow, it's dead for me now. I don't know what's up there. Let's see. Who was I on? Corey LaJoy, Massey in 25th, Wright in 26th, Hacker 27th, Stuart Friesen in 28th, Raja Karuth, first car out 29th, Daniel Dye 30th. You got Holmes in 31st, Parker Kligerman 32nd, Robot, I never can say his name right, in 33rd, Greenfield 34th, Haley Deegan 35th, and Thompson out at last, in last. While that's red and up there, had this thing ready to go for a while. So there you go. With the results, they will all be up top. If there's any updates or whatnot, is what it is. Okay, so it went from cutout to now Air Force at Wyoming basketball. Riveting. But there is that. So they hit the time window and then some. I don't blame them. It seemed like Fox Sports 1, based on the announcers, was ready to get the hell out. And again, I don't blame them. But looking, overall at what this race brought, there really was no rhythm at all. By the way, thank you, Kyle, saying badass hat. I appreciate that. Yeah, there was no rhythm at all to this race whatsoever. It was incredibly difficult to continue to stay invested in it. And it's just stop and go, stop and go, stop and go. Like earlier when I said that this guy, hold on. Yeah, when I said this guy was like the mascot of the night, I meant it. Like I totally meant it. This dude was the entire night. Sad crew guy is what I'm going to call him. Sad crew guy encapsulated tonight. 100%. By the way, while we're all in here, be sure to watch Black Flags Matters channel on Wednesday. We're going to be live for the NASCAR Weekly Podcast at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll talk about some of this. Probably not all of it. And I see in the chat, Daytona. Excuse my bad singing. Dislocation, thank you for the $4.99. Maybe we just need to get rid of stage cautions at all tracks. I know it probably wouldn't have mattered, but it is ridiculous. Well, we did finish 20, all but 20 laps tonight. And those stage cautions took forever tonight, even without the rain. So that's my issue. I see Navy Ghost saying noon. I agree on the weekend races, but Friday at noon, I mean, you got people that work and people that are and people, kids at school to get in on that. But I agree with the rest of it. I know it's a meme. I know David was memeing hard tonight, and I do not blame him because this race was a meme race. It was very much, it's just very much there. It was a race. It's hard to really say there was anything that was really definitive about this race except stop and go, 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 stop and go. Like, if NASCAR wanted to be like football, this was the kind of race. Stop and go, stop and go, stop and go, stop and go. There was no hurry up offense in this race. Which, by the way, at least for the early part of the season, and if you guys like it, we'll do it all season. We're going to be doing these after every truck and Xfinity race. So we'll have a lot of fun with that. I applaud so many of you for staying tonight. It means a lot. Andrew, thank you for the 5. Haley Deegan exists. Truck Series drivers. I'm going to wreck right in front of her. Okay, I know there's a lot of criticism of Haley Deegan, and I think a lot of it racing-wise is deserved. At the same time, though, she does have a lot of bad luck, and this was a case of it. She had a lot of bad luck. NRF's joke on Deegan was turbo cringe. I don't know what it was. I don't know if we're talking about this year, last year, but this is I'm not going to talk about that tonight, whatever it is. I don't know what it is. I don't pay attention to Twitter if it was on Twitter, because I assume that's where most bad stuff in the racing community comes from. I'm usually not on Twitter. But speaking of Twitter, something that came from this race that I love, because we have kind of had this as a down low meme. And when I say down low, I mean just pretty much everyone except for the broadcast have talked about it, except I think Bubba did. But the Mickey Mouse meme, Darian, if you're still watching, that was on tap tonight, because who was it? Was it Eckes, I think it was, who had said that he didn't want to see Zane get a Mickey Mouse win. And I found that so funny. So funny that was out there. And then it was even funnier when you had all these people on the main broadcast who I think are all over 30. And they're all like, what does he mean by a Mickey win? Like, yeah, we used to call that backing into a win. It's like, oh my God. For me, just watching this bloom over time in the community is funny as hell to me. And it's funny watching like all these older people, or not older people, but just people in the, main media had to like scratch their heads over it and be like, what the hell is he talking about? So, yeah. Yeah, Caitlin Vincian, what's a Mickey Mouse? Oh, man, that was funny. Corey in the chat here says, NASCAR is stupid sometimes. I don't see why they waited and waited just to end the race after about 10 minutes. The final time, they love wasting time. Well, I think part of it is the network, too. But, I mean, ever since we've moved from the Brian France era to the post-Brian France era, I've noticed NASCAR has been exceptionally, exceptionally pursues finishing races. I mean, you look at Daytona last year. They probably should have called that race after the last rain during the day, but they didn't. You look at Bristol Dirt, for instance. I was at that race. We thought that was a called race over and over and over again. They kept it going. So this is the MO for NASCAR nowadays. The last 5 years or so, this is NASCAR's MO. They will do everything they can to make it work, but ultimately it didn't this time. They gave it one last shot. I mean, I was following Eric's tweets, and he was saying that it stopped raining, and then it started misting a little on pit road, and then people I knew at the track were texting me saying it was fine, like just not even enough mist to even notice unless you were looking for it. And then all of a sudden the trucks go back on track, and it's misting everywhere. So it sucks. It does, but I can't rip on them for that. The basketball community came up with that. Yeah, I know it did, and that's where Darian got it, but he was the one who really introduced it in a big way, I think, in the NASCAR community. Something else I'll say, and I see that, let's see, okay, so Brian here didn't like Adam Alexander, and maybe it's because of how Vince Welch and Jamie Little have been on Fox before, but I liked Adam Alexander more, but he definitely seemed off his game tonight. But it was better. I mean, it was. I'd say as long as he's on his game, I would like him to be in the lower series. Personally, that would be my take. Napa Racing Fan 927 asked for 2. Should Adam Alexander be play-by-play for trucks? I think so. Again, if he's on his game, because when he's doing Xfinity, I really like him on that. And I think he got a lot better once he went to Fox compared to when he was over on TNT. But remains to be seen. But let's look at some of the things that happened in this race. I took notes. So the first one I have is, again, we have a powerful command. Apparently, everyone's going to scream the commands this week, which, you know what? Like I said last night, I would rather have a sucky command with lots of passion behind it than people to just be like, oh, thank you to everyone here at Next Era Energy, and thank you Next Era Energy for the Next Era Energy and just say over and over and over and over and over and over again. So I'm fine with it personally. Like, is what it is, because we're gonna have a lot of boring ones this year. I've seen this asked over and over again: is Eric sleeping at the is Eric sleeping at the track? I don't think so. He has a hotel, but he's gonna be there late for the 3rd night in a row. But it is what it is. Looking at some of the other things that happened though, racing wise, they went 2 laps before we got the first caution and red flag for rain. There we go. First stop. Then lap 7, they're back to green. Go to turn 1. More rain. All right. We got that. And then they finally get back racing to the end of stage 1. Ty Majeski nearly spins it, saves it really well. Very impressive save on his part, I will say. And they get to the end of the stage. Eckes wins. There's not too much more to talk about than that. It was just, there was a lot of aggressive racing. It was a truck series race at Daytona, and when they got to race, it was really good. Unfortunately, they didn't get to race much, but that was stage 1. People asking, did Eric make it out after the podcast? I assume so. I did not follow up on that. All I said was, go to bed. I will tell you that once we got off the air, he did not stay on long, which I do not blame him, because it was yesterday by the time our Wednesday show ended. 670 package for 2. Zane Smith is Ford's last hope. I would love Zane to stay at front row, honestly, because I feel like he could build that program up. Flame Runner 801, thank you for the 5. I noticed that more veteran drivers weren't pushing or being anywhere near as aggressive as the younger and lesser experienced drivers were. I agree. I noticed guys like Chase Elliott, for instance, guys like Zane Smith, they were not being overly aggressive. It was the younger guys causing the issues, and they were clearing themselves out of the field. Hey, what's up, David Bell? We should leave Eric a sleeping bag in the garage by Christopher's car. Might bring Chris some luck. Maybe. I mean, as long as it's not going into the last race of the year and he's picking against the Chad, he should have some pretty good luck. But after stage 1, we had, the first stage I think did end with a big one as well, which took out a lot of those cars. But what I noticed is that the handling was such a big issue tonight. There were so many loose trucks out there that just could not keep it under them. And it made it really interesting. But through stage 2, with the big one, or it was a big one ending that stage. There was a big one in at the start of it too. But Tyler Ankrum had won the second stage, and then that stage ended under caution. I think as like Friesen and a couple others had a big one there, and then rain started up right again before the restart. Shocker, I know, very shocking. Thank you, Eric W, for another 5 gifted memberships. By the way, we're gonna be starting probably in March, going to be really ramping up the membership program. And if you're a member, we're going to be doing probably member only streams is one thing I think I want to try and do a few times. For only posts, different things like that. I think it'll be a really, really fun thing to do. So thank you, Eric W, for all the memberships. And for those coming on, welcome. Welcome to the show. Thank you for 150 likes, by the way. Let's see if we can get to 200 likes before we end this thing off. We'll finish talking about the truck race, kind of preview the Xfinity race for tomorrow. I will not be streaming after the ARCA race. I want to watch Frankie Muniz go up the middle. But let's finish this baby up. So, Corey LaJoie was up past halfway, and with the next caution, a crash, a 5-car crash. I believe this one had Raja Karutha in it, which I know they blamed Raja a lot for it, but he was going for a gap, and Zane Smith was going down too. So I think it was kind of both their faults, honestly. I really don't see why everyone was blaming Raja so much more than the rest. So like than Zane. I felt like it was both of them. Oh, thank you, B1624 is a new member as well. Welcome aboard. Yeah, we're gonna be doing a lot of stuff coming up soon. I promise that. I'm gonna be making a new plan for all this stuff. So I really, really appreciate all of you guys jumping on and the donations too. Thank you, Sheepbot. As I get a pop-up on my screen. That's weird. Thank you, Sheepbot05YT for 2 When Is NASCAR Romance novel reading. That'll be soon. Life got in the way over the off season. I had no time outside of when I made videos. Like I wanted to stream more over the off season. It didn't work, but it will be coming. I promise. And then, but going back to the race after that crash, Corey LaJoie stays out front because he missed the call to go to pit road, which ended up costing him the race. Because if he had not missed that, well, then he might be racing towards the front when the race actually ends. Or not having to pit or whatever it might be. But we have the 7th yellow of the night for rain. Ended up being the last yellow of the night. And I literally have on here more effing rain, ... and now some mist because that was the night. But we go into red. Takes like an hour. I boot up Madden. I'm like, I might as well spend some time listening to the broadcast. Having a little fun on there, which, by the way, Bengals leading 13-7 on that end, if for anyone who wanted to keep track into the second quarter. I'll update you tomorrow on what the final is. How about that? But, they tried it. They went back to yellow for 5 laps and back to red again and immediately called the race. And, yeah, that really was what it was. I feel like the race would have been 100 times better if my man, Norm Benning, was in this race, but is what it is. But the good news is, as I am going to pull up the weather on my end to double check to make sure I'm not talking out of my ass on this one. But the good news from what it looks like moving forward into the weekend, looking at the daily Daytona forecast, is 8%. Oh, are you kidding me? Uh-oh. This is interesting. This is a new change. I'm going to check on my weather app, too, to see the difference. But on AccuWeather, it has an 8% chance with 66 degrees and sunny on tomorrow. But AccuWeather has a 60% chance of rain for the Daytona 500 on Sunday, all of it happening in the afternoon. But then I look on my weather app on my phone, and it has it being sunny with less than a 20% chance. So I am hoping that AccuWeather is wrong on that count. But there's starting to be that creeping in weather that was supposed to be later in the week that might be during the Daytona 500. I thought it was good, man. I thought it was good. That sucks. You're seeing my genuine reaction right now that half of the weather apps are saying that there's going to be barely any rain, And half of them that are probably going to say there is some. I'm seeing most of them say 20%. But AccuWeather is saying 60. I'm going to hope they're wrong. But there is that. It's going to be, I'll check the hourly. But AccuWeather's the one that says there's more. I'll check if the race is starting earlier. So even if there is a lot of rain Sunday, and I don't know if the hourly goes into Sunday. Again, it's 48 hours out there. A lot can change in Florida. But looking at the hourly right now on my end, it's loading up. This is I don't know what's up with AccuWeather, but it is so off. So I'm on there. Let's see. I'm gonna pull it up one more time and refresh it just to make sure I'm not wrong here. Looking at the hourly for Sunday. Sunday. Come on. All right. Down here. Moment of truth. We'll see what it's looking like. But this is a little under 48 hours out. Sunday's forecast. I don't know what they're talking about. The AccuWeather forecast for Daytona Beach on Sunday has all the rain happening in the morning and no rain afternoon. So, I don't know. Everybody else is saying it's looking fine from what I can tell. And Weather Channel says it's going to be fine. The app I have on my phone says it's going to be fine. The backup app I have says it's going to be fine. Thank you, David Bell, for the $1 as well. So right now, I am going to go on like this race is going to go on fine. But it is going to be very important to keep track of the weather. If there is a threat of rain, we'll definitely have to keep that in. So I'm going to, like I said, my mentality, it's going to be fine moving forward. So I want to see in the chat right now, because on Wednesday, y'all's pick for this race was Haley. I want to see who y'all are picking for the Xfinity race tomorrow, because I don't think there's going to be any rain. I think we're going to have a lot of fun. So who y'all got for tomorrow? I'm watching right now. I see a lot of noons in there. So I'll check the local Daytona people, see what they're thinking too. We'll go from there. Thank you, Eric, for another $1. You're awesome, man. Thank you so much for the support. But let's see what you got. Apparently, we have a stripper fund. That's something. I'll take a note for my future bachelor party. So all right, so we got Creeder Hill, lots of Hill, Custer, stuff like that. Fuggerman, 21, Creed. Flame Runner 801, thank you for the 2. Do you think the choose cone made more yellow flag laps? Maybe. I don't really think so. I just think that they were really bad at handling cautions. And that's been the thing that NASCAR's done ever since the stages. These stages add so much time to these races, like 20 to 25 minutes of just stage cautions. I'm going to be really interested to see, as long as it's not a wreck fest at the end of a lot of them, what the difference in time between road courses in 2022 was and road courses in 2023. Because honestly, if we see like a 30-minute difference year over year, and it keeps people more engaged throughout the race, I think NASCAR has a very compelling case to make to the networks. Hey, we made this change in these particular races that don't draw in a big audience, that always have issues because of long-ass stages, that, hey, maybe they're needing to be changes made everywhere. Because I think it's a test, honestly. I really do. Let's see what else we got here. I'm getting a thing on YouTube saying that the stream quality is going down, but from what I can tell, looking everywhere else, it looks okay. So, but as we'll keep going a little bit longer, and then we're going to end off for the night, just because it has been a long night, and I want to respect y'all's time as much as I want to also probably get to the gym before it's midnight. But I do want to see some stuff. So Spencer says, wait, guys, remember chat, Eric, Danny picked Haley, while Jarrett and Darian picked Hill for Xfinity. Yeah. Hey, Bloneyberg, how's it going, man? God, please let it happen. Drop the caution. Drop the stage cautions. I agree. I'm not a fan of stages to begin with. I know I'm in the minority on that when it comes to awarding points, all that stuff. But if we have to have them, because I do want to be the person who at least has solutions to things I don't like instead of just complaining to the void. If we have to have stages like NASCAR wants, this is the way to do them. I don't think we need them at super speedways, to be completely honest with you. I think super speedways already have a good enough product. We don't need to artificially stop the race itself. I don't think we should at Pocono or Michigan either. Those are very strategy-heavy tracks. And while it worked out last year for Michigan to have a lot of strategy, it usually doesn't work out that way. So that's where I'm at personally with it all. I say that the cautions have to go all together because the BS excuse that NASCAR and the networks gave was, this is so we can have more ad time under caution and not under green. And now, while we have side-by-side, and that's nice and all, it's not, it's still just as much of commercials as it was 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago. And yes, they have commercials under stages, but a lot of the stages, they stay on the whole time, go back racing, and then if it's like a mile and a half, they're under caution or under commercial 10 laps after they go back to green. So, you know, a lot of people fell for corporate BS, I think, on that one. But I think it can be changed back at this point. Thank you, David Bell, for the 2. Thanks for the awesome content, Jarrett. Well, thank you. I'm glad you think it's awesome. We're definitely gonna be improving on these streams as the year goes on, make it better and better as we go. And thank you, Jason, for becoming a member as well. Thank you. I really appreciate the support tonight, guys. It means a lot. And hopefully we're not having to keep y'all up super late come tomorrow night. I'm gonna make sure, I'm gonna double check. But the race tomorrow is starting at 5 Eastern, 4 Central. And I want to see, how long did the race run time go last year? Because it can go long with a red flag. I'm just hoping we don't have to stay up too awful late. So going back to last year's right now, I remember being at it. I remember it terrified me. Last year's race took 2 hours and 11 minutes. So if that's the case, our stream should be going up around 7:15 Eastern or 6:15 Central on my side. So here's what we got here. Mark put in the chat, the National Weather Service has said, and this is from Bob, Saturday 60s, 10% chance of rain. Sunday 70s, 15% chance. So yeah, I'm going to go with that. And, you know, if Bob trusts him, I trust him because Bob is the best in the business at NASCAR reporting, bar none. Thank you, Napa Racing Fan 927 for the 2. Would truck coverage be better if NBC broadcasted? Maybe, but the truck series has for so long kind of been the backwater of, you know, for a network, but that being speed was better. But when you get these big networks that get these lower series, the production always is going to go down. I don't think there's an easy fix. I mean, ESPN was good until they kind of got shoved out at the end of their deal in the early 2000s. So I don't think there's a real fix to it, personally. My idea is I just hope there's more money in the contract so these truck teams, at least on a bad broadcast, can still be better funded, because it is difficult for these truck series teams, especially, to run a lot. It was like that for Xfinity, but I think now it's getting easier. So that's what I'm hoping, is that if there's more money giving in the television contracts, we can have more competitive teams over time, which hypothetically would mean better racing. Or at least better racing coverage in the sense, because these networks will only cover the guys up front. When you go to a track, there is battling everywhere. Sometimes the best battle on track is the battle for 30th. That was how it was at Martinsville this past spring, or spring of 2022. Is there was so much good racing in the back. But when you looked at the top 10 or the top 5, it was single file. Baloney Burger, thank you for that comment. Sorry. I see that comment. But like you said, trucks come off like a chore the networks are forced to do. Yeah, it really, really does. And it's sad because it really is a great series. I think that it's had a bit of a downturn in racing product the last year or two, give or take. But it is sad that people are treating it like that. But yeah, I agree with Darian too. I'd rather see the best battles. And when you're at the racetrack, you can see those. There were so many times this past year, either where I was there as media or as a guest or as a fan, and I would tweet out like, "Is anybody watching this race for 16th right now?" And people are like, "No, this race sucks. They're all single file." It's like, they're freaking 4 wide on the front stretch. Why aren't they covering that? So that's a network issue. And I think it's a fundamental network issue of newer people coming in over time, these sports networks, understanding only stick and ball sports. I think there's a lack of understanding in a lot of instances of what NASCAR coverage institutes and what racing fans like. I mean, there's plenty of people who are fine watching a battle in an F1 or IndyCar race that is further back in the pack. And I think the same thing applies to NASCAR. There are fans of every driver in the field, and every driver in the field that has a good battle will have some people invested in it in some way. And I think that the networks in particular need to work on that. Hey, you know what? Every time we bitched about Fox last year, NBC instituted stuff in their coverage to kind of be better than Fox was. So maybe we just need to keep saying this stuff, and eventually we'll see it during the season. I don't know. Man, 3 days in a row of streaming is a lot more difficult than I thought it would be. Darian, I don't know if NBC, because NBC would probably have it on Peacock, USA and Peacock, and they might have better coverage, but I don't know if it's the right way to say it. I don't think that they would fix it. I really don't. I think that NBC would probably have a second or third tier crew covering it. They wouldn't have their top guys on it. It wouldn't be on a top channel. It probably wouldn't even be on a channel on TV for most weeks, because NBC is trying to promote Peacock, which, not gonna lie, honestly kind of sucks. Not kind of, it sucks. I tried it. Not good. There's a reason I got off it. Yeah, as Darian said, I don't want it on the cock. I'm gonna leave it. It would have me personally like this. This would be me if the truck series was put on the cock. So that's my thoughts. Let's finish this baby off. Let's get to 200 likes, and then we will end this baby off. And I will see you guys tomorrow evening. So let's see. We'll get one more comment in to talk about while we hit 200 on the like meter, and then we will call it a night. Let's see what we got here. I'm waiting for you. I see Grover Cleveland in the chat again, so good to see former president in the chat. Hit 200. Trucks on CBS maybe, says Napa Racing Fan. Maybe, but even for SRX, the ratings were honestly comparable to trucks. So, I don't know. I really don't know. What do you think of Pastrana's performance? He didn't have ARCA brakes like last night, so better than the duals. But, yeah, that about covers it. I don't have too much more to say. We'll be back here tomorrow. Hopefully not at the same time. Hopefully a lot earlier. And we'll be covering the Xfinity race. We'll be talking about that. Hopefully about a complete and utter banger. But I don't know what more to say other than just I still had a good night. And I had a good night talking with y'all. So, but I think that about covers it. So I will stop rambling. I'll let some of y'all get to bed. And for those of y'all who it's not too awful late, I'll let you get back to whatever you got going on tonight. But thank you guys so much for watching. See you tomorrow night.